Hello BookTube, my name is Adrienne and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a tag video. It has been so long since I sat down and filmed a tag or even really looked into what tags are floating around right now, and I am so excited to do one because I found one that I'm really excited about. I haven't read through all the prompts. I read the first couple and I just love the idea of it, so I decided I was going to go ahead and do it. So we'll kind of go along this. This video may take a lot more editing than I'm prepared for, but it'll be fine. So this is the ride or die tag. This video was originally created by Ladette M. I will link the original video down below. I will also link the channel where I first saw the video, which was Melted Books. Their link will be down below as well because they were the ones who I first saw this video from. And so let's just get into it. There are 10 questions. The last one is tagging people, and I don't know that I'll do that. We'll have to see. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So the first one is The BFF, a book that not everyone likes, but has been with you since the start. You will always love them. For this one, I have Anna and the French Kiss, specifically this book, but this whole series in general. I know that recently a lot of people have taken issue with this book because of themes and things that happen in it that are a bit questionable, and I do understand that, but I still love these books. They have been with me from the very beginning of my booktube journey, and they are one of the books that got me interested in creating a channel for myself. So I definitely will always love these books, even if they're not for you, even if other people have taken issue with them. So this is definitely the BFF book for me. The next one is The Long Drive, a book you take on a journey, or if you know you'll be spending a lot of time unable to move. So like a plane or a train or a car trip, what book would you take with you for that? I think for this one, I would probably take Illuminae or one of the books in this series because it is a chunky book, and while it is quick to read, it is definitely also a book. It's also one that will keep you interested, and I know for me at least, when we're going on long trips, it's hard for me to keep my attention dedicated to one thing for a long period of time, and I feel like with Illuminae, it has the ability to keep you invested longer because it is told in a non-traditional format, and it is also just a very gripping and intense read. So the fact that it keeps you interested is why I think I would pick this one for a long trip. The next one is The Newcomer, which is the most recent book you read that you can't stop talking about. For this one, I have to go with Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas. I read this book in one day, and this is like a hefty book. I think this is about 800 pages. I actually have a vlog of me reading this book. It's not a great vlog because it's kind of scatterbrained, but I will link it down below if you are interested. It was my Dewey's 24-hour readathon vlog, and I loved this book. I just really enjoyed it. It is a slow burn romance. It's got lots of fantasy elements, lots of drama, lots of twists and turns that I just didn't see coming, and I just really enjoyed this book. So this is definitely a new book that I read recently that I just love talking about. I think my husband was so sick of me when I was reading it because I wouldn't stop explaining things to him. Like, he probably knows the plot of this book as well as I did, and as well as I do, and he didn't even read it just because I wouldn't stop telling him about it while I was reading it. So I think this one definitely fulfills that prompt. The next one is The Quiet One, and that is a book you reach for when you need some peace and quiet. I think for this one, I have to go with Casey West as the author I go to. Any of her books, I just gravitate towards them whenever I'm wanting to kind of calm down or have something just really light and easy to read, because I know when I need some peace, I want to go with something light and fluffy and nothing too dramatic. So I definitely reach for Casey West. This is not her newest book, but one of her newer books, maybe this time. This is just a really cute, springy book, and I really enjoy this book a lot. It's very light and fluffy. It takes place over the course of an entire year, focusing on several major events happening in this town, where our main girl here, Sophie, works for the local town florist, and so she takes flowers to all of these events and is meeting a guy through this who is the son of a really popular chef who is in their town for a community project thing for the next year. And so she's meeting him, and they're kind of enemies. They don't like each other, but this is a contemporary romance, and so you know that this is going to end up being an enemies to lovers story, and I just really enjoy this book overall. The next one is The Outgoing One, a book that you love to read in public or you don't mind keeping with you on an antisocial social occasion. I feel like the one I have for this is going to be Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia. And that is because I love telling people about this book. So this is definitely a book that I would like to go out and read in public because this cover is also really cool. And so people tend to ask about it, especially because it seems like a book right now, like whenever I go out and read, it seems like having a book used to mean to me, oh, that person doesn't want to be talked to. But I guess to extroverts, somebody with reading a book means we should talk to them. So this is a book that I would take out with me to read because I like telling people about it. And people tend to ask me about my books when I go read in public because I guess they think I'm lonely. The next one is The Guilty Pleasure, and that is a book you don't want to justify because it would be too embarrassing, but you love it nonetheless. For this one, I'm just gonna have to go with like a blanket genre, and that's hockey romances. I've discovered hockey romances like in the last 2 months, and I have read a ton of them. They're absolutely guilty pleasures. They are just a lot of fun to read. I can fly through them pretty quickly, especially because a lot of them are on the Audible Escape program, so I can listen to them while I get stuff done. And their covers are pretty embarrassing. And so I don't usually tell like people in my real life that I read these because I don't want to have to justify why I'm reading a hockey romance. But I enjoy them. The next one is The Stranger, and that is a book no one seems to have heard of and you wish everyone had read so that you could talk about it. For this one, I'm going to pick Magnolia by Christy Cook. I just reread this book like this week, and I read it in a day. This book is another YA contemporary that takes place in Mississippi, and it follows these two characters here, Gemma and Ryder, who their families have been friends since the Civil War, and they, ever since then, their families have tried desperately to unite their families in marriage, and it has never worked out where they had people who would do that. And so when these two were born, really pretty close in age, their moms were determined that they were going to be best friends and they were going to get married someday. And obviously, Gemma and Ryder fight against that pretty hard. So this book takes place during a very short amount of time where they are kind of left alone due to some really dramatic circumstances and have to ride out a hurricane and tornado alley time frame together because their families are not with them. And so they are hunkered down together, and it's their story of kind of figuring out what kind of relationship they actually want, if they want just a friendship, if they want a deeper relationship. And this book has a lot of twists and turns, just one after the other, different dramatic situations that come up, and I just really enjoyed this. It is also inspired by Romeo and Juliet, so I definitely would recommend this book if you were interested in picking it up, because I think I have heard one other channel talk about this, and I would love to be able to talk about it more with some other people. Number 8 is The Book Was Better, a book that you loved, but its adaptation was awful. I know exactly what I'm gonna pick for this, okay? For this one, I've got to pick City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. I love this series, I love this world, I love this book, I love everything about this. This is a book that has been with me for ages. Honestly, this book could have easily gone to the BFF challenge, but I love the series. But it has had 2 adaptations now. It had a movie and it had a TV show, and both of them weren't great. I wouldn't inherently say they were the most horrible adaptation I've ever seen, but they were definitely my most disappointing adaptation because I love these series so much and there's so much content in this, but the TV show just threw the book out the window immediately and barely hit any of the points. There are characters in the TV show that die and they live to the end of the series. So I don't understand that at all. That was when I stopped watching the show. And then the movie did some weird things as well. So I would definitely say this was an adaptation I was the most disappointed in for sure. The next one is The Author. An author, you'll read everything they've ever produced. You trust them completely, whether it's a hardback series of 15 novels or a shopping list. I have 2 for this. I've already talked about both of these authors in this video, and that is Cassandra Clare. She's going on how many books in this world, and I've read every single one of them. I've annotated most of them, and I will read everything she ever writes. even when the series is over, I will read everything she ever writes because I love her writing that much. So this is one. The other one we also already talked about, and that's Casey West. This is a different book. This is her book, Listen to Your Heart. This one is about a podcast, so that's fun. I discovered Casey West 2 or 3 years ago now, and I have picked up every single book she has released since then, including almost every book she's ever published before that. I say almost because I haven't been able to find a couple of them because I'm wanting hardcovers of as many of them as I can get, and I haven't been able to find hardcovers of some of them. So I don't have all of them physically yet, but I have them all digitally in some format, and I will continue to do that. Actually, I have digitals of all of them, so I have multiple copies of some of them. I think, let me think here. This one by her, Love, Life, and the List. I have this physical hardcover. I have the ebook, and I have the audiobook. I like her a lot, and I will support her till the end of time, or until she decides she's done writing books, which will make me very sad. And then the last one is the tubers, and that is to pick 3 YouTubers, tag them, and let them know they are your ride or die. And for this, I'm gonna tell you my favorite YouTubers. I will say, don't feel obligated to do this video or this tag if you don't want to, but if you want to, please do, because I would love to see your stuff. And so the first one for sure is my friend Gabby from The Curious Owl. She helps me host the House Cupathon. She is one of my best friends here on BookTube. She talks, we talk to each other almost every day, and I am so glad that I have been able to meet her through BookTube. Along the same lines is YouTubers, obviously. And then the third one, I want to do an Instagram friend because I think she deserves just as much credit here, and she is absolutely one of my ride or die people, and that is my friend Liv from The Two Quills. She is amazing. She has a beautiful Instagram. She has an amazing blog. I will link all of these people's stuff down below so that you can go check them out, because you should. And Liv is absolutely one of my ride or dies. She also helps me host the House Cupathon, and she is another person I talk to every single day, and I love her. I just love her. So if you are interested in doing this tag, please do let me know you did it, because I would love to see it, because I find this really fun and interesting. So yeah, go check out the people I talked about. Go, do this tag if you're interested, because I guess I can tag anybody who watches this if you want to do it. And I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.